Hi everyone, welcome back to the Crafty Author. My name is Anissa, I am the Crafty Author, and welcome to my quilting studio. Today I'm going to show you how to embroider on a sweatshirt. Now I know I've done a video on this before, but what I haven't shown you is how to do it on a sleeve. So if you are interested in learning how to embroider on the sleeve, then you're going to want to stay tuned. So I'm just going to jump in and get started and show you how I hoop this, how I get it on the machine, how I get it centered, and then we'll move on to the sleeve portion of this. All right, so I'm going to just find my center point by folding my sweatshirt in half. And I'm going to crease it right there in the center. And I'm using a chalk marking tool, so I'm just going to mark that with some chalk there. Now this will wipe right off, so I'm not worried about it staining or anything like that on the garment, because it'll come off pretty easily. So now I'm going to just center this, and I'm going to take my ruler now, and I am going to measure 3 inches down from the collar there, and I'm going to mark it again just so I have that as a reference point. And then I'm going to draw some lines there so that I can place my paper template that I printed when I was preparing my design, so that I can make sure it is the correct size. So I'm just going to place that there, line it up in the center with the lines, and then use my embroidery tape. Alright, so I have my hooping station out, and I have some black cutaway stabilizer that I'm going to be using for this project. And I'm just going to cut that and prepare, and then I'm going to place my stabilizer on my hooping station there. I already have the bottom hoop in there, and this is just going to flip up and hold that in place. Now this hooping station is amazing. I absolutely love having this, especially for hooping garments. Makes it so much easier. Now I'm taking my sweatshirt, and I'm just going to go ahead and put that over the hooping station itself, and I'm going to pull that down, and I'm going to get it nice and straight on that station there. And I'm looking at my design, making sure that everything looks good, that everything is nice and centered down the middle, and it is. And I'm just going to make sure again that it is before I put the hoop, the top portion of my hoop on there. I'm going to grab my ruler, and I'm just going to make sure that I'm centered with the line that is on my hooping station and on my design, so that if I need to make any adjustments, this is where I would do that. So I've double checked. I'm going to make sure again that everything is nice and taut, that there's no fabric hanging out or bunching up anywhere. And then I'm going to grab my top portion of my hoop, and I'm just going to go ahead and set that down. I'm going to go ahead and pull my design off now that I know that it's centered. I'm going to cut a piece of water-soluble stabilizer, and this is just going to help ensure that the design doesn't get into all those fibers and get messed up. It'll actually help it to look much neater on the top. So I'm just going to use my embroidery tape here, and I'm just going to tape this down. Now I'm just taking off the water-soluble stabilizer, cleaning everything up, wiping off my chalk marks, and we're ready to move on to the sleeve. Now I'm folding my sleeve in half so that I can find the center point, and I'm just lining that up with the seam that's on the back of there. And I am going to measure up with my ruler 3 inches. I'm going to take some sticky stabilizer and I am going to cut it out to fit on my frame. I am using an 8-in-1 frame, also known as a fast frame. This makes it easier for you to hoop sleeves, bags, socks, those types of things. So I'm just cutting that out. And I want to mention that you should also use a cutaway stabilizer, even with this sticky stabilizer. It just gives the garment a little more stability, and when you're stitching, it does make quite a difference, in my personal opinion. So I've got that cut. Now I'm just going to go ahead and peel this backing off of the sticky stabilizer, and then I will put my hoop onto that. I'll just place it on there. And then I'm going to cut off any excess that I have and then fold it over that hoop there. And then I see that I did it backwards, so I had to flip it. So now it is on the right side. And now you can see I have it to where I have my stabilizer on my hoop. Now I didn't do the cutaway on here because I wasn't thinking when I did it, but you would definitely want to use a cutaway stabilizer with the sticky stabilizer. So I'm just getting that in place, getting that ready so that we can put our sleeve onto our hoop. Now I've got my stabilizer prepared, and I am just going to put my hoop inside of my sleeve that has the stabilizer, sticky side up. I'm going to center my sleeve onto that hoop, and then you can see where I have it marked. That is where the design is going to go to. But I want to make sure everything is nice and lined up. So now I'm pressing down to adhere the sticky stabilizer to the sweatshirt sleeve. Grabbing my ruler once again just to check and make sure that I'm 3 inches up from the cuff there. Now I'm going to take my printed design and I'm going to use my registration marks on there to line it up on my design. Now I'm going to put that up at the top, and then I'm going to use my embroidery tape to hold that down. And now we're ready to get that stitched out. I'm going to go ahead and slide this onto my machine there. And the most difficult part of this is trying to get the sleeve underneath that arm, because you don't want to stitch your sweatshirt together. So you have to make sure that the fabric underneath the hoop there is on the straightaway sleeve there for the embroidery machine. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just trying to get this on there, and you can see I'm fighting with it just a little bit, but once you get it on, it goes pretty smooth. You can see me tucking it in underneath there. That's what I was battling. So now I'm going to just put my sweatshirt right there, because I don't want it to weigh anything down, because it can be very heavy and it could weigh down that arm. And so I'm just grabbing some water-soluble stabilizer, because we need to put that on our sleeve as well to make sure that our stitches come out nice and pretty. You can see that I already have my design marked on there, and I have clips. So you want to use binder clips to hold your garment down. It just keeps it from ruffling up and moving around while the machine is stitching out the design on the sleeve. So I'm just making sure that I have all of that clamped down so that it's not going to move. And then I am getting ready to set up our design in here. Now with this particular design, you go in and you choose your design, and then you go and choose your hoop size. And for the Ricoma EM1010, you want to choose other, and then you will set it and do a trace so that you can see if your design is going to fit within the parameters. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just testing everything out, and I'm going to center my design. So now that I know that the machine is ready to go, I'm putting my water-soluble stabilizer onto my garment. And I'm using those clips to hold that in place. And actually, I really liked using the clips to hold the stabilizer in place because it really did a really nice job so that the stabilizer wasn't getting all bunched up. And so that worked really, really well for me. So that's what I'm doing here, and then I'm just going to go ahead and press start, and we are going to stitch out our sleeve design. All right, so I have finished stitching that out, and I was having some issues with my bobbin, so I had to pause it and just fix that. But anyway, I'm sweating, and I still have I have to do the other side, the other sleeves on these sweatshirts. This is a job for somebody. So anyway, I want to show you what that looks like. So this is what it looks like on the sleeve. It's not my favorite thing to do. It's kind of a pain in the butt to do the sleeves, but it does turn out very, very, very cute. I will admit that. And also, I was using the sticky tearaway stabilizer because that's what's recommended for that. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you're doing anything that has to do with like a shirt or a sweatshirt, you're going to want to put some cutaway underneath it as well, because it just helps it to stabilize it more than if it just has that one sticky stabilizer. So that's just my 2 cents on this. So that's it for me today. I got to go finish doing this job. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to follow me, then click the little bell. You get notified each and every time that I upload an awesomely cool new video. Links are all down below in the description box. I will link to the Ricoma machine, as well as to my Amazon shop where you can get the stabilizer and all that stuff. And keep on crafting. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.